Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to the temple. We begin our service singing Hinei Matov Umanaim. How pleasant and how beautiful it is to be here together and to celebrate Shabbat.
Hinei Matov Umanaim שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. יאללה לה לה הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת אחים גם יחד.
And we turn to page 172 to sing together Matovu. As we turn to page 195 for the Berlow. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל, המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליה ברחמים, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. מה רבו מעשיך אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלאה הארץ קנייניך. תתברך אדוני אלוהינו, על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפארוך הסלע. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. We read together. The world is sunlight restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes. More welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them. You redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. We turn to page 200 for the calling of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Adonai Echad, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. We read together. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise, and when you rise.
And we turn now to page 204 to sing the same song our ancestors sang when they were crossing the Sea of Reeds.
Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nadar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef ele
rise now as we turn to page 205 for the tefillah.
שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Source of all being, we turn to you as did our people in ancient days. They beheld you in the heavens, they felt you in their hearts, they sought you in their lives. Their quest is ours. Help us to see the wonder of being. Give us the courage to search for truth. Teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring nearer the world we envision, one of justice, freedom, and peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. We read together. You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the door frame, I begin to enter into your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions waiting to be posed. They filled me with wonder. Sit with me, eternal teacher. Encourage my seeking. As I fill my hours with your mitzvot, so shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותך בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכינו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, our God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated.
ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישביעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשת שבת. חלדות ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. למעשה בראשית שבת, למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת.
We turn now to page 216 for the prayer for shalom, for peace and wholeness and wellness. O God, may we never become complacent, faltering in our effort to build a world of peace. Let the nations know and understand that justice and right are better than dominion and conquest. May all come to see it is not by might nor by power, but by your Spirit that life prevails. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים שלום, טובה וברכה. חין וחסד, חין וחסד ורחמים. חין וחסד, חין וחסד ורחמים, ורחמים. שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים שלום, טובה וברכה. עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עמך שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים שלום, טובה וברכה.
We take a moment for a silent prayer. Turn to page 253 for the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing and strength and courage. We hold in our hearts those we know that need healing and strength and courage. And this Shabbat we think especially of those in Morocco that have suffered from this horrible earthquake, where so many were killed and wounded and lost their property, as we sing together the words of Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha ones before us, help us find the courage הברכה. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Turn now to page 244 for Seder Kriyat Torah, the order of reading from the Torah on Shabbat. Please rise. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Our God is one, Adonai is great, holy is God's name.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai Hagidula, V'Hagivura, V'Hativeret, V'Hanitzach, V'Hahod. Ki kol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Ki kol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'hamidnasi, lichol lirosh.
Please be seated. We're at a Torah portion called Nitzavim, and we actually read this Shabbat two Torah portions, both Nitzavim and Vayelech. Nitzavim means to stand. The Torah portion begins, and that's the part that we're going to read, where everyone is standing before Adonai our God to enter the covenant. That's the last covenant in the Torah, the last covenant that God is doing with the people of Israel in the book of Deuteronomy and in the 5 books of Moses. It's in the wilderness of Moab. It's also the most inclusive covenant. Pay attention how many times that inclusivity is mentioned there, and how radical actually it goes when you read just the beginning verses. So Nitzavim means to stand, and then the second Torah portion that we read is Vayelech, which means to walk. It's kind of nice to read it just before the high holidays, before the entering of the new year. We stand in the old year, and Nitzavim is always read the week before Rosh Hashanah. It's read with Vayelech when we don't have a Shabbat between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, like this year, so they're both combined together. And Vayelech means to walk. Well, you can say that it means, that's not what it means in the Torah, but you could say that it means to walk into the new year. So rabbis always say let's bring all the good stuff from the old year as we walk to the new year, and let's say goodbye to all the bad stuff that we leave behind us. It's also fitting to the order of the Torah portions, because last Torah portion was Kitavo, that has in it the worst curses, the worst punishments, the worst plagues possible. It's actually known for that in our tradition. So we're saying goodbye to all those things as we're standing in the covenant and moving ahead. We're going to read in chapter 29 from verse 9 onward. That's the beginning of the Torah portion, just the first few verses. But first we'll let Jennifer lead us in the blessing before.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. אמן.
אתם ניצבים היום כולכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ראשיכם, שבטיכם, זקניכם ושוטריכם, כל אישי ישראל, טפכם, נשיכם וגרך אשר בקרב מחניך. מחוטב עציך עד שואב ממך, לעוברך בברית אדוני אלוהיך ובעלתו, אשר אדוני אלוהיך כורת עמך היום, למען נקים אותך היום לו לעם, והוא יהיה לך לאלוהים, כאשר דיבר לך וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. ולא איתכם לבדכם, אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת ואת העלה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום. You stand this day, all of you, before your God Adonai, your tribal heads, your elders, and your officials, all the people of Israel, your children, your women, even the stranger within your camp, from wood chopper to water drawer, to enter into the covenant of your God Adonai, which your God Adonai is concluding with you this day, with its sanctions, in order to establish you this day as God's people, and in order to be your God, as promised you and as sworn to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I make this covenant with its sanction, not with you alone, but both with those who are standing here with us this day before our God Adonai, and with those who are not with us here this day. This might sound familiar because you're going to hear it again on Yom Kippur. This is the reading, it's not the traditional reading for Yom Kippur, but all over the Reform movement, all over North America, and in Europe and in Israel, that's the reading that the Reform movement chose to be the reading of Yom Kippur, instead of the traditional reading that is more about the sacrifice and the ritual of Yom Kippur. I'm saying that because our liturgical decisions is kind of an affirmation of how important one part of the Torah is to us and how less important. So we don't pick and choose during the year, because we read the 54 portions of the Torah according to the cycle. So even if you're not a fan of Leviticus, when it's time to read Leviticus, you read Leviticus. If you really you're not into the story of creation, toughen it up. We're going to read the story of creation. But in the holidays, which we have a different reading, a special reading that is just for the holidays, that's the chance to pick and choose from the Torah. It's kind of like the Haftarah. Not everything past the Torah became an Haftarah. So when the rabbis are choosing, for instance, not to read Job, not at any holiday, not at any Shabbat. They're making a statement. Okay, I personally like Job, but they said, we don't want that in the synagogue. We are censoring it from the synagogue. When they choose certain part of Isaiah to be Haftarot and certain part not to be, they're making a choice. But the Torah is even a bigger choice. And when the Reform movement in America and all over the world is saying, this is so important to us that we're changing what we're reading traditionally on Yom Kippur, because it's about things that are literally irrelevant to us. We're not going to start animal sacrifice doing Yom Kippur here at the temple or anywhere else, and we're not going to do the rituals like they're described in Leviticus 16. So we're going to read instead Deuteronomy 29 and 30, because this is much more meaningful for us. And even there's a jump. It's not the whole thing, because again, you get to pick and choose on a holiday, so they're jumping from one place to another. The rabbis also decided that, I don't mean the rabbis in this synagogue, it's already a few hundred years ago, that decision was made on the afternoon service of Yom Kippur to read the Leviticus 19, the Code of Holiness. That's also not a traditional reading. So why is that? There's a radical message here. This is the last covenant, and everything that I read could have been summarized in the first 4 words in the Hebrew. Atem nitzavim hayom, you stand here today. That's not repeated, that's only once. And then it says kulchem, which in English means all of you. So you need 3 words in English, but 1 word in Hebrew. Okay, kulchem. That's it. All of you. All of you means all of you, unless my English is really bad. But in Hebrew, at least, kulchem is very inclusive. It's all of you. But they're making a point here, because the Torah and the Bible and all of our sacred texts are not always inclusive. Sometimes they're very much exclusive. Sometimes they're so exclusive, so even if you want to translate it to modern English and to be more inclusive, then you're actually are butchering the original text, because the text was specifically I don't know how to say that word, specifically exclusive. It wanted to exclude and say only the men, or only the men above age 20, or only the Levites, or only the priests. But here, there are, after they already said everyone, they're saying now the important people, the tribal heads, and the older people, and the officials, and then they're saying, and every person of Israel. Like, that's definitely a repeat. I mean, you already said everybody, now you're saying every person of Israel. And then they're saying the children, and then they're saying the women, and then they're saying the stranger in your midst. And then they're saying also the less important people, or the less better jobs, wood chopper and water drawer, that could be, according to some commentary, actually the stranger in your midst. That's what it means. Those are the people, just like in our days, the illegal immigrants do the jobs that we don't want to do. So that was the same thing. And then, if that is not enough, that repetition that really includes everyone, but everyone, but everyone, but everyone, but everyone, they're saying, even those who are not here are here today, which is mind-boggling, and you can interpret it in 2 ways. Usually it's interpreted the future generation, meaning us. And this is why when we do a ceremony for someone who just converted to Judaism, we usually read that part, because we're saying that person was also there, even though they're just joining now the people of Israel, but you were there, all of us were there. That's why we sometimes use it in a baby naming or things like that. Meaning we're also part of the covenant. We all stood in the wilderness of Moab. We all stood in Sinai. We were there. But you can read it also in another way. Professor Dalia Marks from AGC in Jerusalem wrote a whole thing about the other way to read it. And actually the high holidays are a good example. We always tend to think that on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur everybody shows up to the synagogue. But everybody is not really everyone. It's not even half of everyone. If you look at the Jewish community here in Louisville or all over the United States, more people choose not to come to the synagogue to be with everyone than those who do come. So Rabbi Mark says, that's the people who chose not to be there. We include them too. Even those who don't want to be in the covenant are part of the covenant. We're never going to exclude anyone. So as we prep for the new year, and as we think of who do we want to include in our community and who don't we should always remember that's what we're going to read on the morning of Yom Kippur. Everyone is included, and everyone actually means every single person, and we're going to say that everyone is included. And even those who don't want to be included are included. Let's do the blessing after reading from the Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Please rise.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לבני בני ישראל. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לבני בני ישראל. על פי אדוני ביד משה, ביד משה. על פי אדוני ביד משה, ביד משה. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לבני בני ישראל. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לבני בני ישראל.
This is, by the way, the most beautiful Torah that we have. It's also the hardest to handle, but the handwriting there is just amazing. It's also the most precious Torah we have. It's from the 16th century in Venice.
Wow.
So we turn now to page 283 for the Aleinu as we go to the Ark. We read together on the middle of page 283. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. We continue the Aleinu together on page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. It has been said Adonai will be sovereign over all the earth. On that day Adonai will be one, and God's name will be one, and God's name will be one.
We turn to page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially Henry Berg Brousseau, David Sean Bailey, Paula Erdley, Sam LaSalle, Joseph Plasko, Frederick Betts, John Brinch, Rosalind Goldstein, Marilyn Davis Katz, Fanny Weitz, Max Benjamin, Etta Hirsch, Beatrice Minstin, Michael Oppenheimer, Ken Vine, Julian White, Samuel Glavinger, Beverly Maren Bloom, Louis Ira Sweet, Teresa Diamond, Robin Frantz Isaacs, Elliot Kronish, Richard Levy, Raisa Alexandrovich, Brooke Cohen, Rhoda Daniels, Maxine D. Lapidos, Neil Buddy Schwartz, Esther Waterman, Michael Robert Effernan, Lendell Massey, Dorothy Oppenheim, Frida Sabes, Ronald Snyder, and in recent days, Kiyonte Dishon Miner. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. With the blessed memories of our loved ones in our hearts, we rise as we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה, may the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction. Amen. Our closing song is עושה שלום.
Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu. על כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope that everyone will not only enjoy a good Shabbat, but also a very good 5,784, a very good New Year. We say always towards the end of the year, and we're very close to it. The only other chance to speak to anyone here at the chapel this year is tonight at Slichot, if you choose to come, but to those who will not be here, we say, Tichle shana uklilotea tachel shana ubirchotea. May the curses of this year be gone, and the blessings of this year will continue with many more blessings in the year to come. Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom, and please say Shabbat Shalom to someone you never met before.
Amen. Amen.